A slight introduction of mine. My name is Falak Mahmood and work for CGI. It's a Canadian-based group, and I'm based in Stockholm. Well, originally I came from Pakistan, but I'm working in SharePoint since 2007 version of this product. I've been working for I'm MCPD and got some bunch of certifications as well. So I'm working in the SharePoint community for quite some time now. And I'm also speaking to different conferences and different events all over the world. So you can see the Twitter handle and my email address or the blogs, so you can check me up there if you want to. Slight hiccup with this one. I think it's stuck. That's very strange. Looks great now. So let's talk about the agenda today. The agenda for today's presentation is that we're going to talk about the managed metadata. How could we implement the managed metadata together with ECM solutions to make them more reliable and all this stuff. So in the beginning of agenda, we're going to talk about the first part of the presentation. That is about the managed metadata. We're going to define the terminologies and definitions, and then we're going to talk about a hypothetical company. It's a scenario. It's a company that wants to implement the managed metadata and roll out, some publishing site and the publishing catalogs. So we're going to see that how could we implement the managed metadata there. Next up, we're going to talk about the enterprise features for the managed metadata that have been introduced in 2013. Apart from that, we're going to discuss the managed navigation, which is a quite hot feature in 2013 now. Apart from that, we'll also look into the cross-site publishing and the product catalogs. So I'll try to make best use of my time and try to cover as much topics as possible. So let's start with the managed metadata, terminology and definition. So what is metadata? This is a big question that has been around the arena. So according to Wiki's definition, metadata is data about the data. So this is pretty much a generic definition. How do you define a managed metadata? But in SharePoint terms, what is the metadata? Metadata is actually how do you classify your documents within the SharePoint? How you define, how you classify your list libraries, how could you define the document libraries, items, list items, and all this stuff. So you classify with the help of managed metadata. Let's talk about the evolution here. So how does metadata evolve into the product in the SharePoint product itself? So we had the 2000 version where Microsoft introduced these content types and the side columns. So that was the beginning of setting up the bars for managed metadata there. And then in 2010, the managed metadata has been introduced in the form of the taxonomy, folksonomy, term store, term set, terms, and the tagging. So all these features have been evolved very much into the 2013, and they implemented much more advanced functions like the hashtags. Those are based on the managed metadata, searchable feed updates, and the search-driven managed navigations. So Microsoft has invested a lot in managed metadata, and now managed metadata is a first-class citizen when we talk about implementing any ECM solution based on managed metadata. So let's talk about these are the terminologies that Microsoft has been introducing, since the 2010 versions. So let's talk about these terminologies in the next slide. So we're going to run through that. Taxonomy, what is the taxonomy? How would you define a taxonomy? Taxonomy is basically, it could be a business function. It could be a department, It could represent your business value. For example, we will see a little scenario that we define, where we define a taxonomy for that company, and then we take along that further in the different examples there. So taxonomy is the formal hierarchy of your terms and tags. The term store is a database that houses all those taxonomies. So we will see that, how do they look like. So what are the term sets? Term set is basically, it's kind of a concept. You have the term set, and then you have the related terms. For example, let's say we have electronics as a term set. And within that electronics, we could have tablets, we could have the PCs, we could have the computer accessories, we could have the audio accessories, whatever. So a term is an element of taxonomy. So it's very simple concept here. And the tagging is actually when you tag your documents with those terms in SharePoint. So that is called the tagging. So let's look at the scenario here. So we defined a hypothetical company, called Contoso Electronics. They want to implement the SharePoint, and what they're planning to roll out the SharePoint Enterprise. So they are looking for the team side, publishing portal, product side, and the search. So what are the challenges here? What are the challenges that are involved in building an ECM application? So one of the biggest challenges is the search. How do the business users can search their documents? How can they search for something, Information workers, one of the biggest challenge in SharePoint is that information workers don't tag their document. Like, it's hard, like you can just put it up, you can just upload your document, and you don't tag that, and that document ends up nowhere, So you have to tag documents here. And you could use the folder structures in some cases, but overall it's very messy to deal with, actually, when it comes to the search and all this stuff. And the structural navigation is quite tricky. We're going to look into that, what is structure and what is a managed navigation, in the further slides. So what we did is that we did an analysis of this company, and now we're trying to set it up information architecture. So what is the information architecture? Basically, information architecture is the way you organize your documents, the way you organize your information, and make it possible for the business user to search. So we're going to do that. We're going to define the information architecture for this company. Let's say all these taxonomies term source are mapped into the more like the taxonomy that is suited to this company. For example, you see here the term set name is the electronics, so we have all the related terms within that. So we define the information architecture that they could use within their portal and to implement the managed metadata there. So what are the benefits that they will get out of when they will implement that taxonomies within their portal? The benefits are the consistent and precise results. So when they tag the document, they get a really precise results, and the results will be more consistent, and they get the improvement with the relevant search, and then the enhanced collaboration. We're going to look into that. How could they search for that? How could they use a refinement panel to make it more relevant and effective search? And the ease of navigation. Of course, they're going to get ease of navigation, like they get really good results with the navigation as well. We're going to see that in the product catalogs with an example there. So this is how they can tag their documents here, for example. So let's jump into the enterprise managed metadata in SharePoint 2013. So let's look at what are the key features that have been introduced in 2013. So the first feature that first metadata feature that has been introduced into SharePoint 2013 is the intended use. For example, you can define a metadata. For example, you can have that metadata available for tagging. So you define the purpose of that metadata. You could use that in the tagging. You could use that term set for the navigation, and you could use that in the facilitated navigation. Facilitated navigation or the site navigation, these are the both different terms. Site navigation is that you want to use your metadata or the term sets in the navigation, and the facilitated navigation is that you want to combine your contextual filters while you use the product catalogs. together with managed navigation. So the multilingual support, so managed metadata is provided with the multilingual support. Even if you don't have the language pack installed, you can still translate your managed metadata with the help of machine translating services, or you could use like create a translation package or upload translations. And then we have the pin versus reuse. You could reuse your terms. As you remember that reuse is from 2010 platform. You know, you could reuse your terms. But what is the difference between the reusing and pinning the terms? The main difference here is that you could reuse your terms, but the problem is that when you change those terms in one place, the changes will be done on all the places. This is not the case with pinning. When you pin a term, you could still reuse it, but you cannot change it. So that is the main advantage of like what is the difference? That's the main difference between pinning and reuse here. So let's have a look at the demo here. I hope my demo machine is working fine. I just restarted the machine here. I hope everyone can see it. Great. So you see here, this is a site here, for example. This is a very basic site that we created here. And if you see here to the term store, you can see all the functions here that is related to this site. For example, this is the term store function that we talked about. This term set has intended use. You could use that for the tagging of the documents here. You could use that as a term site navigation. And you could use that in the faceted navigations. We're going to look into these a little bit further down the road. But let's talk about the other functions. You could sort them, you know, all these term sets here. You could see here. And if you go back to the term set, you can have the custom properties here. For example, if you want to have some shared properties or custom properties that you want to use in the APIs, you could set those up here. And translation, this is a really cool feature actually I want to show. This is a machine translation service. You could use your term set to be translated with the machine translation service. So you go on, click on your term set, click on the machine translate service, and press continue here, and you say that translate all the terms. And then what you can do here is that you select here English and translate it to Swedish. Let's see if that works. No, it doesn't require a language back. Yeah, there's the demo for you. Well, let's make another try, you know. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, that's, well, that's error handling for you. I can just quickly make a connection and see if that works. No internet, I think I'll be shown this login page. Yeah, sorry? Yeah, WC Stockholm. There you go, I'm connected. Back to business. Yeah, there you go. So let's try it again. Translate all the terms, English to Swedish with the help of machine translation. Great. And let's see that if that translation suits all the suites, you know. Swedish here, we go back here. So there you go. Can you see that now? I think it's quite fine, I think. You could tweak it up, isn't it? Yeah. Any questions up till that point? Okay, let's move on to. Well, you have the different options here. You could use your own translation package, or you could use the translation service provided by Microsoft. For example, you got different options here. You can upload a translation as well, and that will be also verified and gets translated. Yeah. So let's go back down to the topic here. Manage navigation here. Yeah, so managed navigation is one of the hottest topic, around in 2013. So let's talk about the challenges here. What were the real challenges in 2010 that made us to go past this 2010 navigation and go for the managed navigation? So the problem was in 2010, you have to configure navigation on each site. So that is the big, so there was no central, hierarchy or central store where you could configure your navigation. And you were having issues here, like all you got was this kind of a big URLs here, and you got the pages with the query strings, and you got the buried pages. So the pages that you created a long time ago that is no longer recognized by the search engine. So these were some kind of a challenges there, So you really got search optimization issues. I remember that we still had the customers in 2007 or 2010 platform that requested that to build a URL rewriting to get the cleaner URLs in 2010 or 2007 version. But now this is provided in 2010. You get a clear and clean URLs. So you get the tight coupling of the content. For example, your content was very tightly connected with your navigation. So that means that you have the tight coupling, or it's strictly connected. The content and the pages are strictly connected. So you cannot easily move your navigation or the pages around easily by preserving the navigation. But managed navigation in 2013, so you can drive your whole navigation with the help of managed metadata here. And, you get, the first thing you get is the simple URLs here. For example, dev.contoso.com/press. So you get the cleaner URLs, no pages /default.aspx or whatever. So for this, in the search, with the perspective of search engine optimization, you get automatically generated XML sitemaps. So that is really cool concept. You could do that. And you get easy reorganization of content using the terms. For example, you build a navigation using managed metadata. You can easily move your pages from here to there without having to connect it with this, without having the problem with this navigation. And you can see here, you can add the new pages automatically to your navigation, for example. And these are added like here. So each page is connected. When you add a page, each page is connected to the term set, and the term set is added in the term store tool. So we'll see that we see that a demo here in a short while. But what are the problems with the managed navigation? The problem with the managed navigation is that you cannot use the same term set for managing the managed navigation across the different site collections. So you cannot share a term set that is used for the managed navigation across different site collections. So that is one of the hiccups here. And you have to deal with this. You have to maintain your managed navigation using term store tool, which might be a bit odd for some of the users, some of the business users, because they might not understand the concept between the term appearing as a menu item. And one more glitch here is that you often have, while creating your pages in SharePoint, you often have to use insert link from SharePoint. So that means that when you insert a link of a page, so the page link will be the physical link, not the user-friendly link. So this is also one of the hiccups that could be solved in the future version of SharePoint. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at the demonstration for this managed navigation. How does it work here? So there is a navigation here. I can show you some of the settings here. This is sorry. If you see here, so here you define your navigation here. That's the top navigation and that's the left navigation. So you define here for the global and the current. Left is also called current navigation. So you see here both are connected to the managed navigation, and that is ultimately connected to your variation navigation. Since we are using the variations in this site, I'm going to talk about variations. How do they work with this managed navigation in shortly. But you can see here overall. So this is connected to this navigation for the English site is connected to this term set here. And if you go into the term store tool, you can see here you see here, these are the two, using the managed navigation, you see here, that's a friendly URL that I was talking about. So you get this clean URL here, /computer. You can customize if you want to. And then you get the target pages. So what is the target page? When you click on this term, which page is going to be loaded? So you can define it here. And you can also define all the target pages for your children here. I mean, that's a physical page. So physical page is connected to a user-friendly user-friendly URL or the term set, basically. Okay, let's have a look at that. How does it look here? For example, here are the computers. So you get audio here, for example. So this is how you build. So you build navigation based on your term stores, term set, using managed metadata here. So this is about the managed navigation. So let's a bit talk about how do variations handle, how can we handle variations and managed navigation. So variations is a popular concept. For example, you might be building a site for your client that is a multilingual. For example, if you see here, you've been asked by a user to build a site, or your client to build a site that is multilingual. You have Swedish, and then you have got English, and you might be having different language packs installed. So what you could do here is you can use variations, and you could use managed navigation, and you can easily build your multilingual site together with managed navigation. So what you do here is that when you build your navigation using different sites in variations, so you got English here, the navigation for English, navigation for Slovenian language, and navigation for Swedish. So you get the more variation labels you have, the more you get the different managed navigations for each of these sites here. For example, if you see here, this is for the US site, and then you got navigation which is look like this, Sweden, and for SVSC Sweden, it will look like Sverige. For Germany, Sweden, so it will look like that. So all you have to do is that you, when you build your sites, you have to define all the labels, and you have to associate your terms with the pages to make this copying of variations possible. So variation, basically what happens in the background is that you got a variation timer job that copies the pages from this top level site to the child level sites. So you have to make this possible, and the only thing you can make it possible while preserving the managed navigation across different sites is to associate a term set with a page. So the page together with the term will be moved from one variation label to another variation label. Let's see a small demo of that. For example, this is a multilingual site here. So if you see here, right now my browser is English. The language that I set here is English here. So when I go to this site, I will be automatically redirected. So you see here. So that is set as English here. Sorry. So when I go to this site, I'll be automatically redirected to the English site. So when I create here, if I add a new page here, let's say I call it printers. I want to add a printers category here. That is also a page here. So welcome to printers site, a page, let's say. So I check in the page here. So that gets created in English version of site. So what I do here is create new target page and select the Swedish here so that the content gets translated or the page gets moved from English to Swedish. So I got to start this timer job just to make it more efficient, you know, because timer job runs every 15 minutes. So new variations are on the way. And if you see here, right now I'm on the printers. If I publish it, it should be moving now to the Swedish. If I go back here and select Swedish here, I'm not changing in the browser here. I'm just manually entering SVSC there, top there. It's not yet moved. So just kicking it on again because the page was not published when I, okay, there you go. This is, you see here, the printers, it is moved from the English to Swedish now. So when we go into this page here, so we have different options here. So it might be that you guys might be better off translating it yourself because my Swedish is not that good. So you see here, so you have different options here. You get synchronization from the base, or you get create a language packet, or like you can upload the translation, or you could use the machine translation. So let's say I use machine translation. So the page will be translated from English to Swedish. And content editor, you see here, welcome till skrivare. Isn't it nice? I hope you all bear my Swedish. Okay, so that is to do with the variations. I hope you understand the concept behind here. For example, now if I switch here to Swedish here, so that is based on, you know, if I move it down here, so I get the Swedish version of the site here. For example, if I press it here, you get the Swedish version here as well. So it's based on your browser. You could also change it from the user profiles to set up the priority for the primary languages. Okay, so that's up for the variations here. Now we move on to our next topic here, hopefully, if it stays with us. The cross-site publishing and the product catalog. This is one of the most fascinating topics, and I would really like to talk about what are the scenarios in which we can use this cross-site publishing. So cross-site publishing is a kind of a concept where you publish the contents in one site collection, and then you can distribute that content with the help of, or not distribute really, you can use your search index to fetch that content across the different site collections. For example, you have one authoring site collection where you define your catalogs. So you define all your authoring content in the catalogs. And then what you can do is that you can use search to index that content, and then use content search web part on the publishing site collection to fetch that content from the authoring site. So the concept here is described as here. For example, you got authoring site collection, so you create all the content here, and then use the search to index all this content. And you use, on the publishing side, you use the content search web part to fetch all this content. So why is that? Why should we use this one? The idea behind that is that you keep your content creation site collection as it is. And what you do here is that, so you keep all the branding on your public-facing sites. You keep the content creation on a separate site collection. So that is a big advantage. So rendering and branding can be done on the publishing site. So no matter how ugly your authoring site collection looks, but as soon as you are uploading the content, that content gets indexed across the search, SharePoint search, and then being displayed with the help of content search web parts on your publishing site collection. So this is how it works a little bit more deeply here. We'll look into the demo now for this one. Let's switch back to the virtual machine and excuse me, how much time do I have, Sanjay? 20 minutes. I think we have some time here. So you see here, so this is a very, very simple, just for the demonstration purposes, I create a site collection based on the product catalogs. So we defined what the Contoso Electronics have, the different products. For example, you've got headphones, speakers, and different stuff. So this is your authoring site collection. It's not that much branded here. It's just you're just uploading a content here. So what you do here is that you got your publishing site. Let me switch to the publishing site collection. So what I did here is that based on the managed metadata, I defined my categories here. You see here, item category. I defined the item categories, speakers, headphones, and I published this site collections document library as a catalog. And on the publishing side, I connected this catalog. I connected with this catalog to fetch all the data using the search and the content search web part. So you publish all your content in this site, and on the other side, let me just close that one. This is the publishing side. So what I did is that I made a catalog connection here. Since the other authoring site is a catalog here, so you can make a connection using this option here, manage catalog connections. And you see here, this is the products list is categorized as a catalog. And in that catalog, we got different bunch of products from the Contoso, for example, speakers, whatever, the camcorders and all this stuff. So when we connected that catalog, we get this menu here. And all these items are being fetched using the content search web part. So it's very, very simple, the concept here. For example, if I added the page here, I inserted the content search web part here. And this is the content search web part. If you see the settings here, I selected the query to select the documents or select the search web part, the search results from this catalog products site collection. So you see here, and you can restrict that with this your current navigation here, current and child navigation. Yeah. Any questions regarding this point? At this point. No questions? Okay. I move on here. Yeah. Okay. One more thing is that about the faceted navigation. We talked about the managed navigation. We saw some of the demos for that. And we talked about the faceted navigations. How could we utilize the faceted navigation? What is the faceted navigation? Faceted navigation is actually you combine your contextual refiners, the search refiners with with the managed metadata or the term sets or the terms to make it a refiner which is more closer. So I can show you a demo there. For example, if I see here, this is our product site, the catalog site. So we've got. Let me go to the term store and I can show you there. Catalog. So if you see here, I selected here. No, it should be this one first. You see here, I selected this term set to be used as a facilitated navigation. So providing that, if you select the term set as a facilitated navigation, then all the respective terms can be seen as a facilitated navigations. What is facilitated navigation is that you define the refiners. What are your refiners that you want to use? For example, you might be interested in different properties, different crawl properties here. You might be interested in created. You might be interested in displayed author. Could be. So when you select the refiner and you press OK here, so right now I'm selecting it for the audio category here. And if I go to the audio category now, if I save that, and now if I go to the audio category here, so you see here all your facilitated navigation. So this is called facilitated navigation. So it will show up as a refiner. So you can refine your, for example, if you have 1,000 search results, so you could easily refine that with the help of facilitated navigation. You see tags here, different. You can sort your results, based on that. Any questions up till this point? Okay. No questions, then it means you don't understand it. Yeah. Great. Good for you. Yeah. So let's talk about. We talked about the product catalogs and facilitated navigation there. So the overall concept is that to create a search-driven applications based on the product catalog, the cross-site publishing. That's the main concept here. And the last slide about my presentation is programmability. Actually, so taxonomy is provided with this different APIs. For example, in 2010, we were used to program with this, Microsoft.SharePoint.taxonomy class. So that was for the .NET server-side object model. So you could manipulate your taxonomies there with the help of that. And you could also use PowerShell. But in 2013, you could use .NET client-side object model as well. This is a new thing. And you can manipulate your taxonomies with the help of CSOM as well, client-side object model JavaScript. But unfortunately, you cannot use REST. This is one of the drawbacks, and I think there's pretty much lack of documentation. I think Microsoft will try to make it work. So let's have a look at the demo for this, a small demo for like working with the taxonomies with the help of CSOM and using maybe SharePoint app. You might be interested in building an app that manipulates some kind of taxonomy manipulation. So you could easily do that. So let me show you how. Let's go on and build a SharePoint app. So now I'm starting to build my app here. For example, if I say SharePoint Saturday demo, I selected here the project here, app for SharePoint 2013. Okay. Now here we have different options here. If you want to build what kind of app you want to build here. For example, you have got different options here: provider hosted app, auto hosted app, SharePoint hosted app. I'm interested in building SharePoint hosted app, so I click finish on that. Sorry. So you got app project now in front of you. Since I don't want to bore you with my coding skills, so I just put together, script that I will use to some code snippets that I can pre-use now. For example, what I'm going to do is that I will create a simple application that will connect with the taxonomies, create some terms here, and fetch some terms from the taxonomy. This is what my app will do. So I go on and my coding snips here and add get taxonomy script. If you see the script here, it's nothing more than no rocket science here, pretty much easy. So you just have to use the SP client context and just simple load. Since we don't have, execute query async or the load, you can use that as well. The thing is that you don't have support for the REST APIs here, so we cannot use that. But you can use CSOM JavaScript here. For example, if you see here, it's checking against a button, and if it says it's checking against a button and fetching all the terms from your term sets. So next up, I can add, this is the clothing. I can add another function that creates term set. I press save here. I go back. So this is the JavaScript that I added here. And now I go back to the page here. This is a page. For example, if I load my app here, so this is the page that is going to get rendered here in the app web. Scope SP admin standard password. Yeah, so this is an app here. So right now it contains nothing. So what I do is that I'm going to add here some HTML that will create some buttons for me, so that I can work together with the taxonomy there. So let's press F5 now. So you see here, so now we've got a couple of buttons here and a label here. Get taxonomies will get all the taxonomies or the terms from a term set, and create term will create a term in the term set. So do you expect this to work? Really? I don't think so, because we haven't set up the permissions. You see here, get term set cannot invoke method, or, well, that is not what I okay, let's set it up permissions here. So that's the one that I'm talking about here. Just a moment. I'm gonna insert my script here again. And now I'm going to the app permissions here. I'm going to set up the permissions for this app to access the taxonomy and perform the right operations there. So this is the app manifest for you. So you define here what kind of permissions does your app need? So I say write here and press say OK. Save it to manifest and press F5 now. And hopefully this time it should work. Any bets? Well, this is a script that I copied from the internet. Yeah, there you go, it works. Not actually, not really, but still a long way to go. Okay, but here the important message is that this app wants to modify your enterprise managed metadata service. So that is just in case you should know that. So I trust it here. Provide the password again. Okay, now get taxonomies. There you go. Let's create something. Printer. Get term set. Anyway, I mean, but you understood the concept here. The concept is that you can use the CSOM JavaScript object model to make this to work together with managed navigation, or you can manipulate your taxonomies with the help of CSOM JavaScript and apps as well. Yeah. Just the key takeaways for this presentation would be, so engage business users and information workers in getting your information architecture to be at place. So you have to engage your users and business users when you work with the information architecture. That is the most important thing here. And plan for the taxonomies, and create a governance plan, a SharePoint governance plan for your taxonomies. That is one of the key takeaways. If I'm to say, that is the most important thing that you must do. And use managed metadata in the different functionalities, like the search. You could use that for the driving search. And you might have seen that the tagging the SharePoint content is very important. You should use that there. And also the navigation and the content reuse that we saw in the form of managed navigation and the product catalogs. The summary, well, there have been significant improvements when we talk about the managed metadata in 2013. So managed navigation, content reuse, variations and the content translations, and the taxonomy API support CSOM, which doesn't work today. And then you got easy publishing with the help of Crosssite publishing. Well, this is overall. That's it for today. Do you have any questions? Sure. Windows format, you mean? Windows Phone, you have to use different platform. I think it's would you mind doing Windows 8.1 apps? Okay, you could do that, of course, and you could use this. But I'm not sure if you use the CSOM there. You might have to use the REST API to manipulate with this with the taxonomies, which is not yet there. But you can use REST API for the many different things like search and all this stuff, And you can even use the REST API or OData API with this iOS or the Android apps. You definitely do that. Thank you. Any other questions you might be wondering? Yeah, sure. Yes. You mean retracting? Mm-hmm. Yes. Absolutely, absolutely. If you delete the page, it's a unified, it's a one-way process, you know. So if you delete in the source, it has to be deleted in the in the target as well. Yeah. So it's a one-ended process, not the other way around. So, but it is recommended to keep your source as close to be the original, and don't make changes in the target sites. And you could use this friendly URLs. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, you could create subsites, or like there's one drawback with that, that is that you cannot have the sub pages out of the box, available out of the box. So you might have to customize your solution. So that is one drawback, but you can definitely create subsites, and you could associate those pages with those terms that are being shown with the navigation. So it's a bit annoying, but you have to use this term store tool actually to manipulate those. But definitely you can restructure that. Yeah, sure. Sure.
What about language support when you use Crosssite publishing and product catalog? If you want to show the product catalog in 9 different languages, assuming that what you showed there was not using variations, because on the publishing side you're actually just using the search results, you're just not having a physical site, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Can you do multilingual?
Absolutely, you could do that. You could do that.
How would you do that?
Well, that's pretty much easy. What you do is that you have to use these. You have to translate your term sets according to the language that you are going to get have a support, and then let SharePoint do this stuff for you instead of using variations. Yeah. You could go first.
First of all, a good brief, like summarization of everything. I have general like user-based question because I have not used managed navigation or term store-based navigation for any client, because we are used to so much like hard-coded or hardwired with site clicks and signs. How do they react like to these term store-based navigation?
Yeah, for the first reaction is something that you, it's not really that simple. It's very important to train your users. It's very important to engage and let them know how do they work, like how does this navigation work. Because for one of my clients, I can tell you the real life story. One of my clients actually, they just messed it up, the whole navigation, you know. They changed the navigation for the subsite from managed navigation to structural navigation, and everything got screwed up, and we had these variations connected, so we had to, you know, create a backup for that actually. So this is something you can really educate them, but
They have to spend a lot of hours or money.
yeah, if you think of ABBA, money, yeah, why not? Yeah.
So you talked about automated translation, and you said that you don't really need any language packages to translate from a source language to any other target language. I suppose that the translation is then aided by some online service.
Absolutely.
So is it possible for me as a user to select a special online service if I prefer to do so? Because I might like online service A instead of online service B because it just gives me better translation. Is that possible to do, or is it just the Microsoft translation service that will be forceful use?
Yeah, machine translation service, as far as that is concerned, that is the Microsoft. So there's no escape there for you. But if you could create your own translation package, or you can upload your translation package. You have other two options available. You could use that.
But can I use any other existing one?
Uh,
Like if I want to
No, well, I don't have a knowledge about that. I think I need to look up into that. The MCM is here. Thank you. Any more questions? If no questions, then you have a task at your hand. Wait this session. Thank you.